Hey everybody, it's Karen with Food and Family, and I'm getting ready to start my dinner in the Instapot. I've got a pot roast that I'm cooking today, and I've got about a tablespoon of butter and a couple of tablespoons of oil heating up in this Instapot. I've got it on the saute mode, and I was just finishing up flouring my roast. It's a chuck roast, and I think it's the best. It's the most tender, but if it's not cooked right, it can be tough. Now, there's several ways that you can do your roast. I like to do mine in the Instapot or crockpot. You can, let me rinse my hands. You can put it on the stove top, and it takes 3 to 4 hours around medium to medium low heat. If you've got an oven safe pot, maybe like a cast iron pot, you can do it in that and put it in the oven. Cook it on about 400 and let it cook 3 hours or so. But what you want is it to fall apart. Okay, so I got my roast browned a little bit. Now I'm going to add a few chopped onions and celery and a little bit of garlic to this pan. I'm going to put about a 1/4 cup of each. This is the celery and onions that we chopped up and put in the freezer. And so we've got them anytime we need it. But later I'm going to come back and I'm going to put some whole onion. I'll probably cut it in half, fresh onion, and put it in there with my potatoes and carrots. I like nothing better than to cut in that big old nice piece of onion. And I'm going to put a little bit of garlic in there too. I think I'm going to put a couple of teaspoons of garlic. And we're not doing away with that good old juice. Y'all know I like to use this chopped garlic in the jar. So let's stir that around for a minute. Oh, this is so good. So now, with those being frozen, it doesn't take long for them to get tender. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put, I like this gravy mix. So I'm going to put some of that in here. I'm going to put, let's try about 3 tablespoons of that gravy mix. And then I've got some beef bouillon. So we've got to be real careful now with our salt. And I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that. We may come back and add some more later. We're just going to have to taste it. So let's stir that around. Get it mixed up with all of that goodies on the bottom of the pan. Now, all this on the bottom of the pan that is stuck, that is nothing but flavor. And when we add our stock, that will scrape it up, and that's just going to add to the deliciousness. Now, I like to add some balsamic vinegar when I make brown gravy. Not much. And it just deepens that, because I cook my roast in a brown gravy. So I've got a 32-ounce box of beef stock. Oh, hey, Miss Patchy. You want to say hey to everybody? And we're going to use this whole carton of stock. And it's going to get thick and rich. And coating this roast in flour and browning it will help thicken this as well. Now, I'm going to slip this roast right back in this pot. And having used this whole box, the roast comes up The liquid comes up right to the top of this roast.
Let me see.
We're going to cover this, and we're going to put it on slow cook, and I'm going to start it at 6 hours. And that's my pot roast, and we'll come back later and add the potatoes and carrots. But next, I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and show you what I'm going to serve with this. I'm going to make some green beans. So give me just a minute. Let me clean this up, and I'll be right back with you, okay? All right, pot roast is going. Let's get some green beans going as a side. I want to cut up a couple of strips of bacon and put them in the bottom. Just using my scissors to cut it up. We'll saute that up just a little bit. I have a can of tomatoes. Again, you know, I wash the lids. You may think that sounds strange, but trust me, this is delicious. You know, I forgot something I wanted. Give me a second. Here we go. Let's stir that bacon around. Can you hear it sizzling? You know it's going to be good. You get that sizzle. I love green beans. And you know, here in the South, we cook them to death. But there's nothing better than taking some green beans, putting them in the pot, and adding a little salt and some butter and a little bit of liquid, whichever you choose, whether it's water or broth, and let them simmer down to where there's no liquid left. That's how you do a good Southern green bean. Oh, yes. Now, that's rendering out some of that fat. So what we're going to do is I had some onion sliced, left over from last night, and where I had sliced an onion, so I'm going to put some of that in these beans. That one's a little thicker than what I want, so let's give it a cut. Not much, just a little bit. That's enough. That is enough. So let's stir it around. I know that bacon is salty, so we don't need to add a whole lot of salt. My tomatoes are going to have salt in them, but we still want to add a little bit. And then we can come back later and check it and see if we need more. And that's all right. So look at these beautiful green beans I have, you guys. Looky there. Is that not beautiful? I blanched them, I froze them, and now we're going to enjoy them. And I'm going to put this whole bag in there. Again, this is something we'll have leftovers, but you know what? It won't go to waste. Now, watch this. Petite diced tomatoes right in on top of those beans. We're going to stir this around. Oh, guys, look at this. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now, let's add some broth. I'm going to use some chicken broth. And I don't want them swimming in broth. And let's see how much we use of this. Maybe about half. About 2 cups of broth. And it's going to cook down. And that's what you want. You want it to cook down and there'll be no liquid left in this pan. And it kind of sears on the bottom. That's what you want. Now, if I see it's getting too dry before I think they're done enough, I'll add a little more broth to them. But until then, we're going to cover it up. We're going to let it saute. Now, I'm going to move this back over to the stove and finish cooking them over there. But I wanted to show you how one version of my green beans. And I hope you enjoy it. So, hey everybody, we're back and our roast is done. Now, it didn't get done like I wanted it to, so I put it on and pressure cooked it for about 30 minutes. And it is falling apart. If you could see how that just pulled apart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up some carrots and potatoes and get those in this pot. Get these cleaned up, and it won't take but a minute. So let me get these carrots scraped and the potatoes peeled, and I'll get all these veggies washed, and we'll come back and we'll add them to this pot, because I have something else I want to show you that I did while we're on break. So hang on with me, okay? Right, I got my onion and all peeled and my potatoes and carrots all cut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut them in nice chunks, and I'm gonna put them over in this pot, in this liquid, and let them cook. I've got it on saute, and what? I've got it on the saute mode. She's begging at my feet. And we're gonna let it cook and simmer for about 30 minutes until these potatoes and carrots and this onion gets done, and it will not take long. Delicious. Now, I could put the whole bag of carrots in there for Mr. Jones and he'd be happy. I'm just gonna cut my onion in half and slip it down inside there. See what it did? Can y'all see that deep, rich gravy in there? Oh my goodness. Yeah, this has been cooking and I can't believe it lets me pick it up like that. So I am going to let that saute for about 30 minutes. Let me get this cleaned up, and I'm going to come back in a minute and I'm going to show you the surprise that I made while we were gone, okay? I'm back, but before I show you what I did during our break, I told you I would show you our beans. Now, I've had these slow simmering for the afternoon. You see how they've cooked down? There's literally no liquid left in these beans. Now, when he gets home, if I need to heat them up, I'll add just a tiny bit of liquid chicken broth to heat them up, and then I'll let that cook out. While we were on break, I made a chocolate fudge cake. So good. I know it's going to be good. So here's what we're going to do. I'm sure you've seen these. I've never made one, and I'm making it today because I wanted something chocolate. In fact, I had to change the blouses, y'all. When I was mixing up the pudding, it splattered everywhere. I don't know what happened, but it did, and that's okay. I just put it in the wash with some spray and wash. Now, I'm going to spread that chocolate pudding on top of this layer. Oh, I will put a link for this cake. I'm sorry, not a link, but I'll put the directions, the recipe for the cake in the description box below this video. So look for it there. And y'all, for some reason I forget, please remind me. See now, see how that's shaped up. We're not done. We are not done. I have a tub of Cool Whip topping. It's not Cool Whip brand, but it's whip topping. And I'm gonna put that on top. And I'm gonna spread it out. Yeah, if there's anything that you're interested in that I use on my videos, like my little mini spatulas or this, check my Amazon store. They're all listed there. Stephanie, make sure we have everything listed. Oh my goodness. Isn't that looking so good? I think we need just one more little splat right here in the middle. What do you think? Let's kind of whip it around, make it look pretty. And then I have a tub of chocolate fudge frosting. Now heat it up just so it'd be soft. It took about 35 seconds. I'm not using it all. I'm just going to drizzle some of this across this cake, across this whipped topping. And then when we cut into it, we're going to get a bite of everything. Let's see if I can pour it from the container. I don't want to pour it all. I don't want big globs. Let's see, can I do it? Can I do it? Yes. Looky there. You could put it in a piping bag if you wanted to and pipe it across there and make it pretty. I'm sorry, you're hearing the kids are out of school and out on their motorbikes. Now, look at that. Now, I'm going to pop this in the refrigerator, and I'm going to let that set up. But I want to keep that whipped topping cold, and I want that frosting to set back up and keep that pudding cold. I wonder if anybody would notice if we took a little bite. You think? Let's see, where can we sneak a little bite from? Ooh, let's try it right here in this corner. I love chocolate. That's delicious. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to get my roast finished up, and I'll try to link pictures of it once it's done and plated up. But I appreciate you being with me today, and I'll see you real soon. Bye, everybody.